Combat. Something we're pretty familiar with in Skyrim. But why is it so different to pretty much every other game? The Dark Souls series, The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, God of War, Shadow of Mordor. All of these have somewhat complex combat systems built into the core of the game. So today we're going to see if we can create the same experience in Skyrim. So let's find out what's possible, shall we? Remember that feeling you had the first time you played Skyrim? The first time you escaped Helgen and was released into the unknown Nordic lands? The wind blowing, the birds chirping. It felt like the whole world was ahead of you, ready to explore. From the great horse-lord city of Whiterun to the small, quaint town of Riverwood, Skyrim felt like an endless world, filled with endless opportunities. And while in many ways that sentiment still rings true today, there still seems to be one limitation: the combat. Although massively improved from Oblivion, and Oblivion massively improved from Morrowind, the combat in Skyrim still left a lot to be desired after a while. While other games had complex dodge, parry, backstab and combo features, Skyrim still relies on the spam left click approach to beating your enemies. And after 10 years, I think we've all become a little tired of the same system that we've become so accustomed to. But what if through the power of modding we could completely recraft Skyrim's combat from the ground up? Well, luckily for you, it seems like now more than ever that goal is actually rather reachable. Introducing Nemesis. The framework that Skyrim modding has always dreamt of having, and the community definitely hasn't been shy in starting to play around with it ever since its release earlier this year. And so, we're going to go over a selection of mods that, when synergised together, offer the best new combat experience you could imagine in an Elder Scrolls game. And, most importantly, thanks to the way Nemesis is designed, adds no input lag whatsoever, meaning no matter the power of your computer, you can use this setup. And the first important mod comes in the form of Combat Gameplay Overhaul, a mod that many of you might have heard of since its release, since pretty much everyone uses it by now. And trust me, it's safe to see why. This mod has 4 distinct features that will create the base of our combat system. Each of them serves as the first step in revolutionising everything from movement to our attack limitations. And so let's give you a quick crash course in what these features do so we can expand upon them after. Dodge rolling is a feature which allows you to dodge out of the way of attacks for a short moment at the cost of stamina. Procedural leaning is a feature to improve the flow of movement by having your character lean in the direction that you're moving. Grip changing allows you to one or two hand pretty much any weapon in the game. These include daggers and one-handed weapons, staves and wands, any two-handed weapons, and even other items like torches. And the last feature is finally mid-air combat. Now that we've got what is essentially an expanded arsenal of the vanilla system, it's time to start adding in some much needed features that many modern games have introduced over the years in order to really tighten up both the combat system and their overall gameplay. The first of these is something that if you've played vanilla Skyrim, you definitely already know it needs a little bit of tweaking. And that's the camera. Now this mod does a lot, but I'm just going to go over the main points so we can get back into more gameplay focused mods. In short, essentially, this is an overhaul of the third person camera, allowing you to customize pretty much everything about it, and most importantly, create smooth transitions between every movement. Compared to every other camera mod I've used, this one exceeds them all, dramatically. And trust me on this, you're gonna want to use it. You have no reason not to, especially because you won't even have to tweak a single thing, thanks to the modern camera preset, which sets every little last detail available to you in the mod menu. So we've got a more modern camera and we've broke the limitations of Skyrim's movement, so now we need to get into the nitty gritty of what makes this synergy so special. And the main mod for that will come a little later in the video, but for now we need to get some other pretty important mods out the way that you might have seen before, but all complement the final mod to deliver the complete package. And it starts with Ultimate Combat. This mod is a complete combat overhaul in itself, but for the scale of this synergy, just acts as one role in the larger picture. And its purpose is to mostly make the enemies of the game fight more tactically and provide the player with smarter, more practical adversaries. It allows them to dodge, just like yourself, perform dash attacks, cooperate with their teammates in a fight, and overall serves as the best counterpart to the player's abilities, ruling out many of the spammy gang-ups that previously cursed Skyrim's AI. It serves to lead up to our next mod, which is also the newest on the list, and is the reason which inspired this video, and is the most revolutionary combat system I've ever seen released. I present to you Inpa Sekiro Combat. Despite its name and definitely fitting into a Sekiro game change, this mod in synergy with the others in this list provides the perfect complement to our existing combat mechanics by introducing its own new sort of stamina system in the form of posture. The posture system works similarly to stamina in the base game, but kind of the other way around. Performing physical acts such as blocking, deflecting attacks or sprinting will cause the posture meter to rise, and once full, can cause the player to become extremely vulnerable to attacks, so it's wise to keep an eye on that thing and plan your movements and attacks in accordance. Inpa Sekiro Combat also overhauls defense in a pretty revolutionary way, allowing you to parry attacks, both melee and ranged, including arrows and spells. Alongside combat gameplay overhaul, it's the most revolutionary and important combat mod to come out in a long time. And paired with mortal enemies, which locks both the player and the AI into their attacks, eliminating the ice skater mechanic, alongside Wildcat, which adds combat injuries, tweaks damage dealt and taken, and a whole bunch more, this synergy is complete for you to customize further, or leave as is for one of the best combat systems I've personally ever seen possible in Skyrim modding. And there we have it, a completely lag-free overhaul of the vanilla combat system that can be ran on any computer. I've always toyed around with the combat mods available, from recreating Dark Souls, or transforming Skyrim into The Witcher. Combat has always been one of those areas that I just can't help but continue to tweak and play around with. And I'm sure as we pass over to 2021, there'll be more mods released, maybe even some that rival what we have today. But even if that is the case, I think we can finally say for the first time that Skyrim modding has provided us with a comfortable, playable combat system that doesn't feel alien to the base game at all. And on that note, I'll see you in the next video.
Subscribe so we can hit 100k by the end of next year.